What up, man?
What's going on, B? You doing all right?
Doing well. For most of y'all that hang out at the lounge, you know Ryan. Ryan's lives here in Richardson, hangs out at the shop a lot. But just want to introduce Ryan, talk a little bit about Drew Estate. And then I'm always trying to think of creative things to do with these videos. And you know, it's just, what do you smoke? What do you drink? What's your favorite cigar? Kind of gets old, so I wanted to just take a little flyer here and switch gears, see if you can follow me on this one. But first, tell us a little bit about who you are, your work at Drew Estate, maybe a little history on Drew Estate for those that don't know.
Yeah, I'm from Houston originally. I started working for Drew Estate 2 years ago, so I'm in my third year right now. And territory manager, I cover North Texas, Oklahoma, North Louisiana, and Mid-Mississippi. About 100 accounts. Before that, I managed a shop in Houston, Casa de Monte Cristo on the north side. And that was kind of my introduction into cigars, full blown. Like I would smoke occasionally.
Yeah.
But managing a shop, it was like, I smoke every day now.
All in. Yeah.
And people don't judge me for it now, because it's like, oh.
How has that helped you with your rep job?
It's helped a lot. You know, understanding how retail works and understanding the dynamic between the managers and the customers and employees, educating everybody. Like, it gave me some insight into what you guys go through, you know, on a day-to-day basis, for sure.
Cool. And then just a little bit about Drew Estates. You know, I think when people think Drew Estates, everybody thinks Liga Privada, or
Acid.
But Drew Estate's got a big portfolio.
Yeah, man.
Makes some really high-rated stuff.
Drew Estate is a power player in the industry. We also do distribution for Hoyt Nicaragua, which is one of the oldest Nicaraguan-based companies out there.
I think the oldest factory in Nicaragua.
Yeah, it is the oldest one. But yeah, Drew Estate, you know, started in kind of the non-traditional space and then kind of opened it up into the traditional space. You got Herrera Esteli, KFC, Undercrown is really huge for us, Liga Privada. There's just so many brands. We're kind of a house of brands. And as things materialize, we're trying to move to more of a hybrid between a house of brands and a branded house.
Yeah.
When you think of branded house, you think of Fuente.
Yep.
You know, everything is in line under one brand, where we have a lot of different brands. A lot of people don't know that.
The Herrera Esteli and Acid, Undercrown, and Liga Privada are all the same family.
Yeah, Tobacco, Speciality. Yeah. They might be smoking something. Like, I don't think I've had a Drew Estate. It's like, actually, you're smoking one right now.
That's funny.
So that's kind of the advantage of us having so many different things for a wide spectrum of smokers out there.
One thing, and I'd like to just quickly maybe hear a story that you have with Jonathan Drew. A lot of people have seen Jonathan Drew in magazines.
Yeah.
A few people have had the opportunity to meet Jonathan Drew. I've been fortunate enough to meet him several times. One thing that really, you know, always throws me off is his look. And it works for him, so it's not a knock on his look.
Right.
But he looks very different than anybody else in the cigar industry.
For sure.
You know, you kind of expect him to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And even though I've met him a half dozen times, every time he opens his mouth, I'm like still caught off guard. And that's a me problem, not a him problem. You know, they say don't judge a book by the cover.
Right.
But you just look at him and you think he's gonna have this, you know, really wild personality. He's gonna be really out there.
Yeah.
And then he like opens his mouth and you realize like he may have the highest business acumen in the room.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
The success wasn't like a mistake, right?
No,
this is
not
a
at all.
savvy businessman.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's one thing a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he does big events and he looks crazy.
Yeah.
You know, he wears these hats and he wears the goggles and you know, that may just be his swag.
Yeah.
And it may just be his stick. And either way, he's genius at marketing.
Right.
But when you talk to him, he is a businessman, like first, right?
Yeah,
like he could be in a three-piece suit having that conversation, I'd still be impressed.
Yeah.
The fact that he's doing it in a sideways hat and goggles, I'm just like, what the hell, man? What the hell is going on? So do you have any just quick JD stories before
yeah, man,
switch gears on
JD,
us?
So my first year, you know, I was fortunate to have like him come to my market and do an event, which a lot of people don't get. You know, he's not doing as many events as he used to do in the past. And one day we went to go eat, me, him, and Ernie, and he was wearing some like camo joggers, similar to ones that I like to wear.
Yeah.
And I was like, where'd you get those from? And he's like, oh man, it's a shop down in Wynwood, you know, down where I stay in Miami or whatever. I was like, okay, cool. A couple months later, he FaceTimes me. And he's like, yo, bro, what size do you wear? And I'm like a 36 waist. Why? He's like, man, I'm gonna send you some joints. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it's like, you don't expect that from somebody of that position. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
because he doesn't need to do shit for you, right?
But he's really that person.
Yeah.
Like he's really dialed in business wise. Like I'm always impressed every time I talk to him.
Every time. Kind of to your point, with him being thoughtful and doing stuff like that. I can't tell you how many times he's just like reached out and been like, hey, congratulations on this milestone, or hey, congratulations on this article. And like, you know, when you get a message and it says Jonathan Drew, you're like, yeah, that's cool shit, right? That's cool shit. Anyway, I'm gonna switch gears. This may like take us completely off the rails.
No, it's cool.
But Ryan's got a background in music.
Yeah.
And I do not have a background in music. I enjoy music, but I enjoy music probably like most people enjoy music.
Yeah.
But I heard something the other day, and they were talking about an artist, and they were talking about how he achieved mainstream success. They were talking about his first few albums, and they were talking about how he had great hooks. He had, you know, the beats were right, and it was catchy, and like mainstream people appreciated it, right? And so they're like, that's what sells albums. But what was kind of overlooked with these first few bodies of work is like the layers of complexity and the music. How he puts sounds together that have never been put together before.
Right.
And it kind of made me think about cigars.
Yeah.
I always have a hard time describing this, but I think most people just like cigars, and they're just like, that cigar's good, that cigar's not good. Right? And that's perfectly fine. That's most of my customers, and for those that enjoy that, that's cool.
People like what they like.
That's kind of how I am with music, right? Love the song, don't like the song. It moved me, it didn't move me, but that's it. So I thought like we could maybe tie this together some way.
Yeah.
You know, there are cigars that you just pick up and you smoke, and you're like, and that's perfect for some days, right?
Yeah.
You're getting in the car, you're driving down the street, you're coming to Renegade, and you roll the windows down. You might not be looking for that like dynamic song.
Right.
Just looking for some shit that like gets you in the mood, right?
For sure.
Same thing with cigars. Like, you know, I'm out on the boat, I'm not looking to be moved by a cigar. But I wanted to see if you could like follow me on that and like tell me a little bit from a music standpoint.
Yeah.
Like what you look for on a technical side when you're like, this guy's got it.
Yeah.
You know, and then maybe like a cigar or two, or like how that, if you can connect the dots on that, how that.
Yeah. So I think you know, my background in music was more like music production, and that's kind of what I'm into. So I buy a lot of records. And I believe like the artist you're talking about is Kanye. That video kind of broke down the dynamics of his first few albums. A lot of people take for granted the time it takes to find a record, find a sample, loop it up, and you know, a loop is just going to repeat itself. And a lot of hip hop is loop based. So I would say that's kind of like a cigar that you would just smoke and not think about it, but it sounds good, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's no change up. But adding a bass line to it might change how you feel about it. Adding drums and adding live instrumentation, adding synthesizers over it might change the feel of the complexity of the beat. So I think there are similarities to that. You know, there are albums that I kind of want to sit alone with and just really dive into it. And then there's stuff like if I'm going out or I'm riding in my car, I just want something.
It just needs to hit right.
Yeah, it just needs to hit and you know, but I think there are some comparisons between.
Do you pick cigars at all in the same way? Like,
yeah.
You do?
I do.
That was what I was thinking. I was just thinking, and it's funny you use those words because that's exactly what I thought about it.
Yeah.
Every now and then there's a cigar and people are like, you love that cigar, why don't you smoke it more? I'm like, because when I smoke that cigar, like, I need to be by my damn self. Like, I need, like, when I'm on my patio, the weather's right, you know, and like, I know like my phone's inside or I'm, you know, I want that cigar and I want to sit there and just smoke that cigar and enjoy the transitions and layers of flavor.
Right.
You know, it's like, I get the cinnamon out of it this time. I've never noticed that. Like every time I smoke it, it's almost a different experience.
Right.
But it's almost like you can taste what the blender was thinking when they made that cigar.
Right.
Right. Like you're like, this is what they were trying to accomplish.
Right.
And it's funny, you kind of said you want to listen to that music alone. And then there's other cigars at the shop that I just smoke.
Yeah.
And like they're good. I know the draw is going to be good.
Yeah.
I know the price point on it's right. I know that it hits 2 or 3 of the flavors that I really like.
Yeah.
And I can just smoke it and not think about it and enjoy it. So anyway, I thought that was.
I'm kind of the same way with like Liga Privada, like especially like the rare stuff or harder to find stuff. I try not to go hard on smoking a lot of Liga 9 because I wanted to still feel special when I light up a Liga, you know. So I kind of liken that to maybe some of my favorite albums. Like if I'm gonna put it on, I'm gonna listen to the whole thing, you know. I want to make sure I have an hour or two uninterrupted to like really enjoy it.
You're not gonna have you're not gonna be playing a game on your computer at the same time.
Like being dialed into it is kind of like where you get to enjoy the complexities, I think.
Cool. Well, let's end it this way. I like to do kind of a rapid fire. You can do overrated, underrated, or appropriately rated. Whataburger.
Appropriately rated.
Premium liquors.
Overrated.
Kim Kardashian.
Overrated.
Beach vacations.
Underrated.
Expensive cars.
I don't know. I don't have one. Appropriately rated, I guess.
Liga Bravada.
Underrated.
Working for Drew Estates.
Oh, appropriately rated. Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Right in the middle.
Right where it needs to be.
Right where it should be.
Awesome, brother. Well, I appreciate you spending some time with me.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, appreciate you hanging out at the lounge. Appreciate you being a good rep to us. And appreciate the Drew Estate cigars you bring our way.
Appreciate you, brother.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.